you see? Harder on my feet. Put y'all over me. Louboutin and Valentino, you ain't getting what you see. Harder on my feet. Put y'all over me. Louboutin and Valentino, you ain't getting what you see.
Hello, people. Sorry for the delay, 12 hours later than I should have been, to be honest. Wanted to stream yesterday, but obviously some emergencies came up, so I had to take care of that. But today we're live. Today we're going to have two streams. Right now, 10 a.m. And, well, my time, it's 8 a.m. UK time. And this evening, 10 p.m. my time, 8 p.m. UK time, we're going to go live once again with the Newcastle, I wish, West Ham preview show and all that good stuff. So hopefully everyone's doing well and is feeling fantastically well after what's its face, after Champions League, Arsenal beating I cannot speak. Olympiacos, for frick's sake, it's too early for me, I guess. Olympiacos and everything, 6 points from 6, two more goals. And yeah, it was good, actually, for a change. Again, the handbrake questions need to be answered. It will be interesting to see what's happening there. Gabriel was under a bit of a question mark because it looked like he got injured, but it looks like he's going to be fine. And of course, Ødegaard steps up. Arguably one of the best Ødegaard performances in the recent year or so, to be honest, if you ask me. And that was actually quite nice to see. The through balls to Gyökeres as well. Gyökeres had a very good game as well. So we're definitely going to talk about that. Then basically going to talk about Champions League in general, bits and bobs here or there. So smash the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new. And of course, don't forget to put your thoughts down in the live chat so we can tackle them, we can discuss them, and we can go from there. Big up hyper antagonist. Big up. Early, well, technically, yeah, 5 minutes early. Then again, I'm 12 hours late, but it is what it is. Big up hyper. Big up Kirtan. We had so many opportunities. Yeah, we actually did. Also, to be honest, Rayo made 2 saves. Nothing, didn't have to do much, made 2 saves, but both of those saves were massive saves because I'm not going to lie, because if those shots go in, could be quite a bit different game. But Rayo also was on one. And every time when there are question marks about Raya, but that mostly comes because basically due to ball distribution, sometimes doing the hospital passes and stuff like that, he pulls a worldly of a save. He looked like a midget in goal because he is short, let's be real, but he definitely makes some very important saves for Arsenal. He saves us bottom big times, let's be real, especially when it's just 0-0 or we are 1-0 up or 1-0 down even at times. Basically keeps us in the game, and that's pretty much all you can ask for from a goalkeeper. Just wish that the fact that his ball distribution was a bit bare, and that Mikel Arteta's tactics, given him that he plays pretty much as a center back to a certain extent, or number 6 even sometimes near halfway line, that was a bit minimized, I'm not gonna lie, because overall it is a scary moment. We are subject to getting lobbed and stuff like that, so definitely that is a bit of an issue. But overall, yeah, game in Champions League, like, it's weird doing Champions League review reaction 2 days later. It's very weird for me because usually I do it one day or on the same day, and it's very, very, very confusing to a certain level, mostly because, well, the thoughts already are with Newcastle again, with West Ham to some extent. Like, my thoughts already with West Ham, which we are going to play tomorrow. But yeah, as I said, today, 8 p.m. UK time, we are going to go live once again. Another preview show for West Ham. And that's what I'm going to say, definitely. We need to win next fixtures. We drop points against these middle teams. Exactly. And that at the moment is the biggest thing about everything. We beat Newcastle away. A game we hadn't won, 3 years in a trot, to be honest. Hadn't scored there 3 years in running. And beating Newcastle is a big achievement. It's a weird thing to say, but it's a big achievement in terms of Arsenal. And now the thing is, this game, which we won last weekend against Newcastle, will mean nothing if we lose or drop points against West Ham, against Fulham after international break, and against all these teams, Sunderland's, Burnley's, and Fulham's even to a certain extent. Like, if we drop points to those teams, this win against Newcastle actually means nothing. Yes, Liverpool are looking very vulnerable at the moment. Against Galatasaray, it was very, very weird performance. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, it was a bit of a weird one. But yeah, definitely we need to pick up points at a rapid pace. Big up Nems. Hope you're doing well. Big up my boss, streaming early now. Not per se. I had to go. I wanted to go live yesterday, as usual, 8 p.m. UK time. But obviously, family comes first. I'm not gonna lie. So obviously, had to take care of that. I prioritized my missus over everything. So at the end of the day, that's why I didn't go live yesterday. But she woke up today. We talked about it. She kind of felt bad about the fact that I couldn't stream yesterday. So she said, go live today at 8 a.m. UK, 10 a.m. my time, and then I can do another stream this evening again, 8 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time once again. So yeah, so double stream today because we skipped yesterday. So that is the case at the moment. West Ham will be more difficult. Uno will set them, but we should win by 2 goals at least. Yes, that's the thing. We should be beating West Ham no matter what. Let's be real. But the thing is, last 2 years, West Ham at the Emirates for Arsenal have been a massive challenge. We have lost to them on 2 occasions. Yes, we went to London Stadium, annihilated them on both occasions. That to the extent that, especially 2 years ago, their fans left the stadium. Well, let's be real, in the first 30 minutes. But at the Emirates, it was kind of reverse roles. They've beaten us 2 years in a row. So beating them is gonna be very massive to some extent. We need to turn these draws, these losses we suffered last year and year before into wins. It's all fine and dandy if you have a good record against the Big Six, right? It's all fine and dandy, but if it leads to nothing, it means nothing to some extent, if we are looking that way. And Arsenal's issue has never been the big games. It's always been these mid-table, lower-end teams, because we somehow always manage to drop points against them no matter what. No matter what. And yeah, that is the case, and hopefully that's gonna change. We're gonna improve on that, and yeah, those 14 draws we need. From those 14 draws we suffered last year, we need at least, I would say, 9-10 of them turned into wins to have a shot basically at winning the league. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, good. Nice to hear. Very nice to hear that you're all okay. But yeah, speaking of Olympiacos, it was an interesting game. It feels one thing I really wanted to talk about regarding Olympiacos. Obviously, I'm going to pull it up on the screen. Where is it? Here it is. Is the fact that Arsenal obviously won 2-0. We again scored early. In the first half an hour, 35 minutes again, we were playing similarly like we did against Newcastle. Very open, very expansive, attacking football, which on face value is fantastic. I'm not going to lie. It is fantastic. But again, I cannot help to shave the feeling that we have a timer, per se, for this, or the fact that we are trying to maybe we are trying to basically change the style. In the first half an hour, it takes a lot out of us, and that after the first half an hour, after playing this expensive football, we need to sit back. We need to somehow try and recover the energy. We need to start to control the game, and it's very, very weird. We have seen this now 2 games in a row. It will be interesting what we see tomorrow against West Ham. We're going to talk about more of that, of course, in the evening show. But today, yeah, that is the a very weird one. And if you look at the situation, 16 shots, 5 on target. Like, they were not that far off. Obviously, we had the overall total control, if you would argue. Currently, we are sitting 5th in the Champions League, which obviously overall is great. For me personally, we need to finish in that top 8, and we can relax. Because one thing we talked about, BBK, big up Taron as well. We talked about it before the Olympiacos game as well. We need to, and it's a must in my opinion, to try and avoid the additional 2 games at any cost. We need to try and avoid them at any given cost whatsoever. Because those 2 games could be really decisive in terms of Arsenal and in terms of our Champions League campaign. Because at the moment, as you can see, Real Madrid are up there, Bayern are up there, Inter, PSG, Karabakh are up there, which is nuts. Yes, they have played the Copenhagen and someone else, but yeah. But you could never know. For example, we are 5th, right? We can actually play Atletico Madrid, Newcastle again, Barcelona, Liverpool, Chelsea, Napoli, Juventus, Galatasaray, Atalanta, based on current standings after 2 games. And for us to get any of those teams could actually be very, very difficult. We tend to struggle in recent times against these Serie A teams. We saw how we fared against Atalanta last year, how we fared against Inter last year. It definitely wasn't great. And yes, Inter, for example, have lost Inzaghi. At the same time, they have new manager Radu, and he still is doing a very good job. So Arsenal getting that top 8 is very, very, very pivotal, in my opinion. And for me, we need to win at least 5 games, and then 5-6 games. And obviously, after international break, we have upcoming games against Slavia Prague, against Atletico Madrid at home, Bayern Munich at home, which will be very, very, very detrimental for our season in Champions League in general. The starting 11 was pretty interesting. It was pretty much everyone expected, more or less. But the performances were very, very interesting, to say the least. I'm not going to lie. Trossard should have had a hat-trick. Trossard should have scored in the last 2 games against Newcastle and against Olympiacos combined like 3-4 goals minimum. He has had so many chances to score. It's actually nuts. And I've been saying this for the longest time. And based on Trossard's finishing at the moment, I look like a bit of a fool. I'm not going to lie. But Trossard actually was one of the most, if not the most consistent finisher in our team. Before Gyökeres arrived, at least last year, definitely. And this year, I don't know what's happening, but it's something very similar. So it's very interesting that Trossard in these positions has not scored. He has hit the post. He has hit some other places. He has missed the net completely. But there's no argument that Trossard should be on at least, I would say, 3 goals after these 2 games, Newcastle and Olympiacos. It's just a shame that we are not. Obviously, that would make also the scoreline look more pleasable. It also would make overall us maybe allow us to rest more players during games. And the finishing department still is lacking. Just like Ødegaard, right? He had a, to be honest, brilliant game against Olympiacos. For me, man of the match, and deservedly so as well. He sent out Gyökeres in like few one-on-one situations in between the line passes, something we didn't see as much from Arsenal in the last year and a half. And with Gyökeres running in behind, you could see how strong he was, how he shrugged off the defenders and everything, how it worked in our favor. And it's just a shame that he couldn't score. He couldn't put the ball in the net, because Gyökeres as well in Premier League, 6 games, 3 goals, which overall doesn't seem that bad. But if you look at the overall picture, 2 against Leeds, 1 against Forest, nothing against City, nothing against Liverpool, nothing against Man United even. He scores against the smaller teams. I need him to start to step up also in the bigger games. That is the case. Obviously, I still believe that Gyökeres is going to score about 18 plus goals this season in Premier League alone. It's just a matter of when. Because we need goals coming in thick and fast, no matter how you look at it, right? At the same time, if he starts to bang goals when it's too late, yes, on paper, it will look nice. It will give some sort of a feel-good factor overall. But if it leads to nothing when it's too late, again, it will be a massive problem to a certain extent. Big up, Mark. Big up, Mark. Hope you're doing well today. Do you think that we will maintain this style of play? Well, I hope so. I literally hope so. The more we release the handbrake, the more we play this expensive attacking football, the better we look. Because against Newcastle, first half an hour against Olympiacos, so or so the same. I actually enjoyed watching Arsenal. I enjoyed watching Arsenal scoring the goal, trying to go for the second at times, having those chances. That is something I want to see for Arsenal, because I have been very adamant in this stance regarding Arsenal from myself, is the fact that this team is meant for attacking. This team is for scoring goals. This team is built for winning and everything. And unfortunately, Arteta has resolved himself to this control, micromanagement type of football, which at the end of the day is actually doing us more harm than good, whether you like it or not, long term. And now that Arsenal, I don't know whether they're trying to switch back to that attacking football or not, or they're trying to integrate that at least partially into their system and into their style. We are not ready. It feels like Arsenal are not ready, the team, because there's a big difference when you play pretty much full speed gear, 6th gear, 7th gear attacking football to when you play control and passing slow type of football. It takes a lot of energy out of you, and it feels like we are now equipped to do that, at least for a half an hour in the first half and maybe for 10-15 minutes in the second half. So overall, we can play one half of that, more or less on average. And we need to see that more. We need to see that more, because one of the biggest issues with Arsenal, which obviously wasn't as big an issue again in 22-23 season, but for me is right now, we don't kill off games. We score 1 goal, we try to push for a second, we get 2-3 chances, we don't score them, and then we sit back because we're out of energy and we don't go for it anymore. Then we invite the pressure. the other team gets into game once again. They get more control of the situation. And it's problematic. It really is problematic. Obviously, our defense, luckily, is so rigid and so strong that it can withstand the pressure most of the time. Obviously, with some help from David Raya at times. But overall, yeah, that for me is now the next step that we need to take, is that we can play continuously this attacking football. And one of my biggest complaints since 22-23 season to this day has been the fact that Mikel Arteta basically has gone from totally attacking football to totally controlling defensive style football, right? He hasn't found the perfect balance, because for me, the perfect balance would be start strong, like we did in 22-23 season, score quick 2-3 goals, then you can sit back, control the game. If you want to invite the pressure, try to hit them on counters, because then we don't need anything more from the game. We can see out the game. And unfortunately, we don't do that. We tend to score one goal, we sit back, and it's very squeaky bum time many times. And that for me is another big issue. By the way, yeah, I think it's very dynamic, and the players were going forwards this time. Yes, just like against Newcastle, we just need that more consistently. Need more longevity for that, because for me, half an hour is not enough. Unless you score about 4 goals in that half an hour, it's not enough for me. Especially given that how many chances Trossard missed, Gyökeres had chances, the chances we are missing as well. 19 points were enough last season to finish top 8. Exactly, and 19 points is 6 wins and a draw. 6 wins and a draw from 8 games. And that is, again, for Arsenal, that is 6 wins and a draw, 5 wins, 4 draws, and a loss. No matter how you look at it, worst case scenario, you can lose 1 game. Best case scenario, you can lose 1 game. You cannot lose more. That is another big issue. You cannot lose more than 1 game. And that could be very, very interesting how Arsenal balance these situations, how they maneuver through this. If 19 points last year were enough, that's 6 wins and a draw. We need a lot. We need a lot unless we win 6 games. The thing is also, we have games like Atletico Madrid and Bayern Munich at home. And I'm not too sure at the moment how it would look and if we can beat them, because those are the biggest challenges. Those are the biggest challenges we are facing in this group stage, at least. And this definitely could affect us big time. Those 2 results will affect us big time on what we do during this group stage. Because if somehow we manage to literally lose those 2 games, we need to win the rest of the 6 games and then hope for some favorable results. For me, that 18-19 point mark is the benchmark where you either are in or you're out, just on the edge, more or less. Because I think last year, obviously, there were the situations that Man City were struggling. They were not in top 8. PSG were not in top 8. Those 2 teams went in like 15th and 14th or something like that, or 19th or something. Real Madrid were not up there. And this year they will be. At least for now, they are already. And this year they will be. And that means that there arguably will be less positions to get into that top 8, which means we need to rack up as many points as possible. Hence why I think that we need to win as much as possible in the Champions League alone, so we don't get those 2 extra games. Because that, if we get someone very unfavorable in terms of how we play, or a very big team, which we're going to definitely struggle to beat, it's going to be very, very, very long. It's going to be very, 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 very long. And yeah, it's going to be very long, and it's going to be very, very, very worrying if you ask me in those terms. So definitely, it's going to be a very interesting one to see that how it's going to happen, where it's going to go, and where it's going to finish at the end of the day. So I kind of am in this mindset that we need to win as much as possible, obviously. I'm happy with the start of the game. Overall, we slowed down, and that for me is a big worry. Because once Arsenal slowed down, there are many instances where we struggle to pick up the pace. Again, after we have slowed down. And that for me, again, is a bit of a worry. So we'll see what is what. We'll see what is what in those terms, right? We'll see what is what. And yeah, here, if you look at last year's Champions League, right? You cannot see it as much, right? Can you see it now? Yeah, see, here it is. This is last year's Champions League. We finished 3rd, 8 wins, 6 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss on 19 points. And this is what we need to get this season as well. This is what, in my opinion, we need to get as well this season. Obviously, top 8 was just 16 points, which sounds great on the paper because we need five wins and a draw, right? But look, Borussia Dortmund was out. Real Madrid didn't make it. Bayern Munich didn't make it. AC Milan, Paris Saint-Germain were 15th. You look a bit lower, right? Man City barely scraped in. All the Juventus as well. All these teams will be up there. I genuinely believe that all these teams will be up there next season. This season, sorry. So definitely there will be a bit of a struggle, a bit more of a competition in terms of getting into those spots. You're thinking listening to the fans. I think to a certain extent, obviously, when, for example, minority of the fan base say it, he might not listen. But once AFTV, for example, starts to talk about this stuff, they instantly listen. Because no matter whether you like it or not, for example, for me, AFTV is the flagship of the Arsenal fan base. Whether you like them or not, whether you agree with what they say there or not, that's a completely different story. But they are the flagship of the Arsenal fan base on social media. And the bigger accounts as well, like Curtis, Turkish, of course, Dan Potts, Lee Gunner, and all these guys. They are the majority. They are the ones that mostly Arsenal social media are on. They usually check in them. They check the titles, check some stuff. They talk about the panel shows. They definitely look at all this stuff. It's just a question of, do they take that into account? Do they take that and they note it to themselves just to change, to discuss and everything? It's just that is the biggest question. Yeah, I think before the City game, they asked him they should attack more, where he said we have attacking goalkeeper and Waffle. Exactly, yeah. He said he was joking around and saying that we have attacking goalkeeper and all this stuff, which, yeah, right now, I don't want to see attacking goalkeeper. I want to see a proper goalkeeper. I want to see my attackers attack, not my attackers play defense. And that as well, it might be changing. It looks like it is changing. And hopefully that stays here long term and that stays to extended period of time, personally, for me, if you ask me. Well, I see that Gyökeres doing helps Arsenal, and I think Arsenal wins because of him. That is the hope, and that is the expectation that with Gyökeres, if we manage to play him in between the lines like we did against Olympiacos, if he gets more and more chances, if we feed him the ball into certain situations and a certain aspect of the game, at some point he's gonna start to score goals. The fact that we are winning despite Gyökeres not scoring, it's already a big thing. Because we did it last year, and it showed us that we can get up to certain stage, up to certain state of football, and up to certain place in the league and cup competitions. Now, the last thing that basically screwed us over, that we could not get it over the line to get even to a final, was the fact that, well, we created some chances in these games, in semifinals and in competitions. We just didn't have a main man up top to put it in the back of the net. Now, we are, again, doing what we did last year. We are scoring goals without utilizing our striker to the maximum extent. Now that we have a proper striker, there is that hope that with the striker there, we actually will feed him the ball, and thanks to him, we will pick up extra goals, we will pick up extra points, and that should be the final piece of the jigsaw, as they used to say. And that at the moment is the biggest hope, no matter how you want to look at it or not, at least for me. Being 17th is dark, definitely. Gyökeres' bigger weapon at the moment is a pick, no different, feels safe. Exactly. And that was one of the biggest issues with Arsenal over the last few years, because our attacks quite exclusively pretty much went through the right. Everyone knew that Saka is going to get the ball, and if you shut down Saka, you shut down about 70% of Arsenal's production in the attack. Everyone knew that. And so everyone focused on that. Now with Gyökeres there, even Eze, even Madueke to a certain extent, and Saka there, it puts defenders on their toes. It makes them to be more alert. It makes them be more nervy. They cannot overcommit on certain challenges, tackles, passes, certain instances of the game. They also cannot double team to a certain extent as much from weak side, because they know that if they double team, they are leaving, for example, Gyökeres alone. And one pass, Gyökeres is in, and you pretty much are putting your mortgage on it that 9 times out of 10 he's going to put the chance in the back of the net, which obviously helps us very, very big time. Long term, big time, it helps us massively. I pray for this attacking style. Same, 100% same. I also pray for this attacking style. I pray that it's long-term staying, and I hope it becomes even more visible and even more dominant. That is the thing. For me, At the moment, yes, it looks great that what we are doing right now. It's just that I want this to see more often. I want to see it consistently. I want to see it for a more longer period of time, and I want to see it also bringing in some extra results. And I want it to stay. I just really hope that Arteta finds the right balance between this attacking and defensive style, and he's not again going to go from one end of the spectrum of the other. And you can see that this team also is equipped to play attacking football. I've been saying that also for years since we switched away from it. At the same time, you can also see that the team, physically maybe, mentally maybe, or something is not clicking there, is also not ready for this attacking football. Because shifting that drastically from one to the other has completely changed the mindset. And overall, we need to kind of revert that mindset. And mentally reverting the mindset is one of the hardest things to do. So we'll see how Arteta manages it and how the team manages it. But overall, yeah, we are playing some decent football right now. I'm not going to lie. David Raya was decent. Made some 2 massive saves, which basically arguably kind of sealed us the game. Ben White was decent going forwards, but defensively he got cooked like no tomorrow. Yeah, Ben White, we need to get him back to his best, or his days might be numbered. To be honest, also Ben White doesn't follow football after the training and after the games, which he has said himself very openly, which basically he treats it like a 9-to-5 job. Basically, that's what he does. Which again means that on the salary that he is on, wait, let me check how big of a salary he is on. Actually, I think he's like on like 150, 160, something like that. I think Ben White is on like 150, 160, right? Arsenal. Ben White is on. I want to see Ben White. How much is he on? Ben White is on 150 allegedly, right? If Ben White is on 150 grand a week, he also doesn't mind sitting on the bench. Let's be real. Ben White is on 150. Timber is on 90. Timber at some point is going to get a new deal. He has 3 years left on his contract. He runs out in 2028. I think at some point he's going to get a new deal without shadow of a doubt. Definitely he's going to get a new deal. But overall, yeah, I think Ben White also, since he's treating it as a simple job, also might not be very, against the fact that he sits on the bench and Timber is the number one. Saliba looked better yesterday, 2 days ago as well. Gabriel, he got subbed off because there was a worry about an injury with the collision with David Raya and everything. It looks like he is okay. Mikel Arteta talked in the press conference as well, said that Gabriel is going to be fine. So that was just a precaution when Mosquera came on. Skelly looked decent. Skelly going forward more specifically looked decent. Whether he has been working with Gabriel Heinz or what, but his crossing looks much, much better. His attacking positioning tends to look better. Obviously, with the shooting and everything, time only will tell, but his crossing definitely looks much, 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 much better. The fact that Skelly is a midfielder and he has better technical ability on the ball and he has better technique in general than most left backs in the league or in general is really helping him because he can draw more fouls. It's easier for him to drive the ball forward, and it also wins as many possessions in a very good positions to genuinely just cross or shoot or do whatever. Like here, see Kieran saying same thing. Skelly was cooking, wins so many fouls. Exactly. The fact that he's a midfielder, advanced technical ability, definitely, I think is helping massively. It's definitely helping massively. Zubimendi was weird yesterday. 2 days ago, sorry. Zubimendi was weird because Zubimendi does some good things, but you can also see that he does some very rash and very not ready things. And that for me is the biggest worry. He got a yellow in a position where he shouldn't have done it. At the same time, somehow he needed to stop the attack. Zubimendi, despite everything, still is a hit and miss for me. It feels like he still hasn't adapted, and he needs to do it ASAP. Because you have seen the games where he basically gets eaten alive still. And that is a massive worry no matter how you look at it. And for out-and-out number 6, it's definitely worrying. Obviously, Merino in the midfield, it is what it is. Merino was decent. Ødegaard. Now, Ødegaard in this game was man of the match. For me personally, Ødegaard had the man of the match performance. Ødegaard was the That is something I would love to see from Ødegaard on consistent basis. Yes, he led the line in pressing and all this. I don't give a crap about that as much. But the through balls he was playing to Gyökeres, the passing, the ball distribution, he wasn't holding on the ball as much as he usually does. And he was releasing it much quicker, thus causing much more dangerous situations in the attack. And he was taking more risky passes than the safe ones against Olympiacos. That is something I have personally been screaming on for ages regarding Ødegaard. It was a very, very good breath of fresh air to see it happen right now. It was fantastic to see, to be honest. And the more we see Ødegaard of that, the more we see Ødegaard working in cohesion with Gyökeres specifically in this, with the through balls, and Gyökeres starts to bag goals and everything works in their favor and in Arsenal's favor, the better it's going to be for us, the better it's going to be for fans. And Ødegaard definitely, as soon as Eze has come in, he has stepped up. So we'll see. We'll see how Ødegaard does. But Ødegaard definitely, I think, against Olympiacos, he had the best performance, I would say, in the last year or so. To be honest, Ødegaard was great. Martinelli scored, right place, right time. Martinelli as well was very decent. I don't mind that at all. Gyökeres, unlucky he didn't score, but he should have scored. Well, I'm going to say that. Gyökeres is also, you can see that with certain passing lines that he's finding better places. At least teammates are starting to find Gyökeres finally, which is something we've been screaming again for ages, because you could see Gyökeres making some fantastic runs. Even Martinelli last season making some great runs. Havertz making some great runs, and the team just not passing them the ball. No risky passes, just the safe ones. And against Olympiacos, a bit against Newcastle as well, we saw that the team was taking more risks, taking more risky passes. They were taking some gambles. And yes, we lose possession maybe a bit more when we do those. But overall, it's worth the risk. And we saw that we scored a goal like that from that. And we actually have created more dangerous chances just by taking those risks, those instances taking into account. So it's very nice to see. I'm not gonna lie, it's very interesting and very nice to see. And hopefully, overall, it helps us. Hopefully, it also stays here. It's not like we do nothing with it. And Trossard, yeah. Trossard is not a starter. Trossard, for me, is more of an impact sub. I'm gonna say this again. Trossard should have been on about 4 or 5 goals in the last 2 games as well. He hit the post against Newcastle. He had another chance. He had about 2-3 chances, if not more, even against Olympiacos. Trossard should have been about 3-4 goals from the last 2 games alone. And he's coming out with nothing from them. And for a guy that arguably was one of the most consistent and best finishers in the team, and still is, to be honest, to some extent, it's definitely a worry. Personally, I would start him off the bench. The issue with that is Martinelli is better off the bench. Trossard is better off the bench. So that alone for me leaves Eze to start left wing. But personally, for me, Eze is a number 10. I don't want to see him at left wing, which is a very, very weird and worrying situation if you are an Arsenal, because our left side, still despite everything, is kind of meshed up. And that for me is a big worry in those times. Definitely a big, big worry, because that left side at the moment is holding us back quite heavily as well. I think we should play Rice deeper and get Zubimendi ahead in the 8th position because he's more side to side. Yeah, that is the thing. Playing Rice in the 6 and Zubimendi in the 8 sounds great on paper. The issue about Zubimendi in the 8 is the fact that Zubimendi doesn't have the line capacity. He doesn't have the engine to do the work that Declan Rice does in that 8 spot, which means we will lose quite heavily something in the midfield. And I don't think Arteta wants to do that. If we had a different type of player there, yes, okay, no problem, and put Declan Rice in the 6. But for now, for me personally, Declan Rice stays there. That for me is the biggest issue. Unless we play someone like Eze in the 8 or Ødegaard in the 8 who can just run up and down the pitch, it's never going to happen. I don't want to. Zubimendi is also very slow. And that, again, is going to be more detrimental than helpful for us in the long run. Trossard is only good coming off the bench. Yeah. You need Rodrigo. We need quite a bit. And we need, not specifically Rodrigo. I would love to have Rodrigo, but there definitely are options we could have. Big up Terry Tibbs. Hope you're doing well. I want to see Rice in the 6, Ødegaard in the 8, and Eze in the 10. Yeah, I wouldn't be against that. 100% I wouldn't be against that. Because Rice, for me, is a 6. In the 8, he's playing a position which, despite the fact that he has been playing there for a while right now, he's asked to do things he is not equipped for technically. Like, he doesn't have the abilities to do so, which is harming us more in the attack than anything, and that is the other situation with that. And Eze in the 10, for me, Eze in the 10 should be a must. I'm just gonna put it that way. Eze in the 10 should be a must. But unfortunately, Arteta doesn't see it that way. Big up, like Thief. Hope you're doing well today. Would you take Semenyo? Some reports say we have agreed next summer. I would take Semenyo. Yeah, I would take Semenyo at Arsenal without shadow of a doubt. Some more quick direct, physical attacker with good finishing, decent ball distribution, good technical ability, which can bring team forwards. Yes, I would definitely take him. Only question about these players who are leaders in their, no disrespect to the other teams, but let's just say lesser teams per se, is can they do the switch up? Because for certain, there are players who are phenomenal for the mid-table, like average teams, right? But when they go to the bigger teams, they don't have the mentality. They don't have the ability. The shirt is too heavy for them to advance, to pick up the team, to move forward, to perform. And that is always the biggest thing. Big up, AJ. Hope you're doing well today, my bro. Would you have Rice 8 as 6? We already saw that. I would. But personally, for me, Rice is a 6 no matter what. Yeah, people, like the stream and subscribe if you haven't already. Helps a lot, definitely. On the road to big 1K. We should have gone Semenyo instead of Madueke. Yeah, true, as well. We definitely cannot argue that. Definitely would be quite fantastic. But if we are looking at this right now, let's just say if we get Semenyo for the left wing spot and Madueke is a backup and everything, it's also not the worst case scenario. Let's be real. Definitely not by a mile. It's not the worst case scenario. The question is, still the biggest question for me personally is, if Arteta goes, will the next manager want Semenyo for that left side? Because there is also argument to be made that new manager will come in with new ideas, which might mean that players are gonna shift positions. They might play more in their natural positions. We might see less versatility, at least in the start, from certain players. For example, we won't see some players who are right wingers in the left. We won't see some number 6s in the 8. We won't see some let's just say center forwards play in the 8 and left wing or something like that. There definitely might be some switch ups, which definitely could affect the team big time, and transfer plans as well. Would Arteta play Rice in the 6? Well, he should, but that's the thing. Arteta won't. That was the reason why he signed specifically Zubimendi, because he wants to play him there in the 6. Then again, Mikel Arteta has said in interviews that he envisions Declan Rice and Zubimendi both in the 6 at times. It kind of solely depends on what type of team we are facing. At least that was during the summer. There were some talks about that. That, for example, if we need more ball distributing, controlling number 6, we are playing Zubimendi. If we need more physical, long ball type of midfielder who is better under the pressure and everything, then it's Declan Rice. So far, we haven't seen it, but hey, that was the talk during the summer. But people obviously always forget these type of small notes when everything happens. But yeah, for me, ultimately, yeah, the Zubimendi signing is forcing Declan Rice out of position once again. Ultimately, Zubimendi is forcing Rice into a place he's not good enough. Exactly. And I've been saying this for the longest time, that Arteta is using Rice in the 8, a position where he's not fully equipped and good enough to play long term. Now, the biggest thing about this is, though, I've lost my train of thought. Sorry. Zubimendi, Rice. What I was going to say. Oh, yeah. What I want to say about this. Arsenal signed Zubimendi in January, right? Well, not officially, but unofficially, right? The thing is, there have been numerous reports saying that Andrea Berta came in, right? If Andrea Berta had come in, let's just say November or December, that Zubimendi deal might have not happened, because he had other names ahead of Zubimendi for that 6 or even for the 8 role, and putting Rice in the 6 allegedly. That was the talk like a month ago, month and a half ago, something like that. And that kind of coincides also with my, let's just say, conspiracy theory on this point, the fact that if again Andrea Berta would have come in November, I could make a very strong case for an argument that Kieran Tierney also stays at Arsenal. He doesn't leave. There's also a very strong argument to be made about that. And that means that if Kieran Tierney stays at Arsenal, and we have still Calafiori and Hincapié, there's a big possibility that we could see Miles Lewis-Skelly in the midfield, in the 8th, for example, which means Rice could play in the 6th again. So you see, these situations, if we actually have had the proper abilities, yeah, that is the case. I will say it again, sell the whole midfield bar, Eze, Rice, Ethan, MLS, and Max Dauman, and buy Pedri and Vitinha. We cannot do that. We don't have the abilities to do so. Because you're saying sell Zubimendi and Ødegaard and Merino. That's what? About just say 60, 90. Let's just say 140. For 140, we can barely buy Vitinha. Arguably. Maybe Vitinha, and we will have some change lying over. Because Pedri alone, Pedri's release clauses for Barcelona is 1 billion. Yes, billion. And he can be taken out of Barcelona if teams pay that, which obviously is not going to happen. The best case scenario, we have to offer 300 million. Maybe then something is going to happen. But Arsenal are never going to do that. So signing Pedri and Vitinha is not possible for Arsenal. Vitinha alone, potentially. Pedri and Vitinha, no chance in hell, in my opinion. Moreno ain't that good. Yeah, definitely. He's better at striker than midfield, which is also very preposterous to think of, in my opinion. It looks like Rice. It looks like Arteta wants Rice in the 6 and in the 8. Sorry, it's like keep playing Vert on the left wing. Yes, basically, exactly. That's the case. Personally, Rice for me is a 6. The nuts part is Rice started out as a center back, then he requalified to be a number 6. And he won the Conference League at West Ham as a 6. He played mostly at West Ham as a 6. He was the captain as a 6. And being an 8 he's not cut out for being an 8. To fully maximize his potential, he has to be a 6. He cannot be an 8. Yeah, they also won't come to Arsenal. I can see maybe Vitinha coming to Arsenal. Let's just say if Arsenal sign Luis Enrique as the manager, right, to replace Arteta, then maybe Vitinha would come. Pedri, there is no chance in hell he would leave Spain. At least that's how I see it. There's no chance in hell he would leave Spain in those terms. No chance in hell whatsoever. Many of these Barcelona Spaniards, they are there for life, just like Iniesta, just like Xavi and these men. That's at least how I see it. So that also is not going to happen and not going to help us in any way, shape, or form. If we are looking at this this place, where is it? Ødegaard, Gabriel is okay. Ranieri, Kuba. Okay. Some other Arsenal news in a second. I would say Liverpool are looking at Olise as sell a long-term replacement. Man City are looking at Olise as the right-wing replacement. And even there's someone else who are looking at Olise. And I don't remember who, but there's somebody else who's looking at Olise. Unfortunately, Arsenal are not none of those. Pedri and Vitinha would cost us 350 million. We can afford so do it because we wouldn't get 180. You really think we would get 180 million pounds for Ødegaard? 180 million pounds for Ødegaard. AJ, I know it's literally almost 9 a.m. only in UK, right? But are you having few beers already, or I'm kind of confused here? No, I'm a bit confused. Do you think these guys will sack Arteta if he doesn't win anything? I doubt these guys. I think they will. I kind of believe they will because Andrea Berta has come in, has provided him with everything. Tim Lewis is gone. George has held a meeting apparently with Arteta saying that he needs to win something this season or he's gone. Players look a bit confused at times or displeased with what Arteta is saying them. He's waffling a bit less in interviews, which is also not a good sign, which means he is under some sort of a pressure. And looking at the managers, he's the only manager who has won nothing. So I think this might be the be-all, end-all. If you spend $1 billion and you have nothing to show for it, I think even if you are most patient person in the world, at some point your patience is gonna go. And I think Josh already is looking at that. And I also believe that Andrea Berta already has a list of managers prepared once they pull the trigger. Pedri never came through Barcelona Academy. He would leave like Cesc did before him. I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. I think Pedri is committed to Barcelona. I think he's staying there. Many Spanish players who are the main guys in their teams usually don't leave, especially when you're Barcelona in those terms. I think Pedri is going to be there in Iniesta or Xavi to a certain extent. He might be there for his whole career. At least that's for me right now, the way I see it. You would get 60 mil for Ødegaard. From who? Who would you want him? Hey, you want him? 70 mil max. Yeah, like 70 mil max. And that is also with some extra incentives. Let's just put it that. And I'm saying by transfer market value Ødegaard. Transfer value market value Ødegaard in 29. And Zubimendi and Mikel Merino is a 4180. So nobody's playing that. First things first, I don't see selling all of them for anything. Ødegaard would be about 60. Havertz would be about 30. Just given the fact that he's on 285 grand a week, not many teams will afford to even pay him half of that. So I would say he will go for about 30, 35 million most likely. Unless Andrea Berta pulls some madness, especially given his injury right now. He hasn't played a lot. There could be something to it. So I would personally say Havertz is going to go to 30 to 40 maybe. So let's just say 100. Let's be optimistic. Zubimendi will be about 40, 50. Let's just say 150. Merino will be about 25. That's 175. So overall it's 175. For that we can get, to be honest, we can get more. Like signing Pedri, I don't think it's going to be like 300 million. Like 250, 300 million. Signing Pedri alone. Vitinha will be about 100, if not more. So for me personally, if we even sell all of them, the money could be spent more wisely. Let's just put it that way, whether you like it or not. No. You're not getting Wanjeri. As for Elise, I trade Saka plus money now because Saka needs a slow-paced league. We'll see. Saka was playing also left wing yesterday against Olympiacos. Central left wing. He was drifting all across the pitch, which also was, to be honest, very weird to see. Also very refreshing to see because Arteta has given a bit more freedom to the attack. Since the stream when I basically was yelling at Arteta for the fact that our left back Calafiori has more attacking freedom than our attackers in general, everything has changed. We have gone to attacking football. Our attackers are more fluid. We somehow see right wing on the left wing on the right, and all this stuff. It's actually quite nice to see. These guys have been injured, their market value, exactly. They gonna know they knows that. And the Gabriel Jesus as well into that equation. It's gonna be wild. Wanjeri will win. Wanjeri will win nothing at Liverpool because he's never going to Liverpool. Let's be real. He's never, ever going to Liverpool. In my opinion, Mendy is worth 35 to 40. Ødegaard 40 to 45. Merino 20 to 8. And finally, Kai is 30 to 33. So if we take all the highest values, that's 85, 113, just 150 million you just described there. That's one Vitinha at the best, in the best of cases. Let's just put it that way. That's it. 150. That's it. In those terms, definitely. But yeah. Some random Arsenal news, which we haven't talked about a lot. In recent streams, we mostly talk about Arsenal latest stuff. But two things I'm just going to talk about today, and that's about it. First things first. This. According to SAMC Sports, in addition to Arsenal's scouting and checks in La Liga, Bundesliga, Arsenal are also scouting in Scandinavia. So, what's its face? Norway, Denmark, all these places. Heavily, with staff attending fixtures in region, that the area is viewed internationally as increasingly valuable in terms of player development and long-term recruitment planning. Andrea Berta is understood to be taking more active role in aligning Arsenal's live scouting work and its data-driven recruitment process, creating more streamlined and collaborative approach. Interesting, we're scouting more in Scandinavia, which is quite unusual for Arsenal. Those familiar with the situation describe Berta's involvement as progressively expanding. Well, that's a nice thing to see. As Arsenal look to ensure their identification models and live reports are fully integrated ahead of future transfer windows. So Andrea Berta is taking over the scouting, the players, progressive expanding over his role and everything, which is nice to see. It was all sacked off by Edu, binned off by Eitso and everything. It's coming back. It is coming back, and that has been trusted to Andrea Berta, which you love to see, to be honest. A proper one, a guy who knows what he is doing and everything, which is actually very nice to see. So yeah, definitely, that's a nice one to see. And the other one, according to rumors, new Arsenal board member Otto Meili. Anyone know who Otto Meili is in general? Because I have literally zero idea. Just putting it out there. Will lead the charge to expand the Emirates, having played a central role in building the 100,000 capacity SoFi Stadium in the USA. A modest increase of a few thousand seats is the most likely route due to structure and location. Which is very interesting. Very interesting. Arsenal are going to expand at some point. Let's just put it that way. Going to expand at some point. Are you keeping this time slot for streams? No. Basically, I wanted to go live yesterday, 8 p.m. UK time as usual. But my missus was not feeling well. So basically, I rescheduled to this morning's stream. And obviously, I let her sleep it off and everything. She woke up today. I'm not going to lie, she felt... Luckily for me, she felt kind of sad that I couldn't stream yesterday because she is very supportive about what I do. Somehow I have lucked out that she doesn't yell at me that I stream. But yeah, she said, I'm very sorry that you couldn't stream yesterday. How about you schedule a stream this morning and you can do your usual this evening as well. So here I am. So ultimately, here I am. Big up, Tyler. Big up, Tyler. Hope you're doing well today, my bro. Go subscribe to Tyler Gunner TV, people. Go subscribe to Tyler Gunner TV. Show him some love. Thank you. Thank you. How's the job hunt? I'm not gonna lie, shitty, because this is the biggest trend and biggest issue about when you are on a job hunt. In summer, you can find almost any job you want because people are changing, people are going and everything. In winter, or winter approaching, the job places become very, very obscure and very minimal amounts to a certain level, if you get what I mean, for the certain qualifications and stuff like that where you want to go. And if you have to be very patient. Obviously, I cannot be patient too long because at some point I'm going to need the money no matter what, because I'm in a good spot that I can actually supply myself and my family for a while without actually going to work still. But at the end of the day, yeah, at the moment, finding a job is more difficult because everyone has found the lower end job, which I would take for about half a year until, again, summer comes and I can relocate and find a proper job. So at the moment, it's very hard. I'm just looking for that diamond in the rough work, which randomly pops up every single week. I just need to find the right moment to find it, and I need to catch it. At the end of the day, I need to find that goldfish. Let's just put it that way. Because there are lots of regular jobs I have found, which I can apply to if basically there's nothing on, but they are going to be there for the next month or so. So at the moment, currently, I'm just scouting for my qualifications, education levels, and everything, the specific jobs, which obviously pays more and has more reasonable hours to some extent. And yeah, it's very minimal pickings because, again, as I said, in winter, everything's pretty much stuffed up and it's not like summer. In summer, I saw certain jobs where I could have gone right now about 15 to 30 positions, somewhere in between. Right now, I saw 2. Like everything's filled because to winter, heating goes up massively. The electric bill, heating bill, they just go through the roof just because it's getting colder, which means people are taking more and more jobs just for that sake alone, which again, yeah, puts a bit of an issue in those terms. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, I'm looking, I'm scouting the market, literally and figuratively. Maybe need to hire Andrea Berta to find me a proper job. Who knows? But yeah, so far it's not too bad. I actually can relax, sit at home, which I usually don't do during the day. Have time to do some housework, which again, I don't have usually time to do when I work. So trying to make the best of both worlds, like Hannah Montana would say. I'll just put it that way. Big up, Kirtan. Thank you for kind words. Yeah, here's Tyler Gunner's link, people. Go subscribe to Tyrell. Show him some love, people. And yeah, thank you. But yeah, finding the job is a bit like iffy, but it's also not too bad. Let's just put it that way. I'm not too bad at all. Oh, here we go. We're gonna talk about this, and that's gonna be hopefully something comes up soon. Saying like I don't mind. Let's just say sitting without a job till November. Personally, I don't mind that because, as I said, I'm in a very good position that I can support myself and my family. Just say for about another 4 or 5, if not more months without going to work, because like savings and all that stuff, basically, just put it that way. So I'm not in a that bad of a position. But one thing I hate is just sit around the home and do nothing, which is one of the biggest issues when you are basically not these Gen Zs and all these morons who scroll to TikTok. Basically, if you are from like the 1990s or before, it's very hard for you to sit still and do nothing. Personally, the way I see it, because the most people I know who have born in 1990s or before that, it's literally impossible for them to sit still without something to do, and I'm one of those people, and that's why I'm kind of. It's good and it's bad at the same time. I hate being lazy and I hate lazy people. I just put it that way. But yeah, one thing. Everyone knows this crap. Opta supercomputer. All this stuff, right? Premier League fixtures difficulty for the next 5 matches. Ironically enough, Arsenal have the easiest run in the next 5 games. Liverpool have the second hardest. As you can see, Liverpool have Chelsea away, United at home, Brentford away, Villa at home, and City away. Arsenal, on the other hand, have a very light schedule. Let's just put it that way. West Ham, sorry. Wait, wrong. Opening. Wait, this one. Arsenal have basically West Ham at home, Fulham away, Crystal Palace at home, Burnley away, and Sunderland at home. All these 5 games should be wins. No matter what you think, no matter what their injuries, no matter what excuse you want to shove out there, these all 5 games should be a win. There is no questions. There are no what's babies and maybes and all this stuff. All these games should be wins. All these games should be wins without questions asked. Our games look easy on paper, but they are 5. That's the biggest thing. West Ham, right? Haven't won against them 2 years in a row at Emirates. Another asterisk. They have a new manager. Another asterisk. New manager bounce, whatever you want to believe it or not, right? Fulham away. That is straight after international break. We all know that we suck straight after international break, and Fulham is one of our bogey teams. So that, again, a big, massive asterisk. Crystal Palace at home. Crystal Palace haven't lost 19 games in a row. Seriously, 19 games in a row they haven't lost. They're in a very good run. Glasner is doing a fantastic job, and we're going to play them at Emirates. Last year, it also didn't go great. Another asterisk to the game. Burnley away. We always struggle against Burnley. Away. Liverpool barely beat them in the 96-minute penalty. So they're going to again put up a stinky, slow block and see what sticks. So another asterisk by the game. and Sunderland away. Sunderland currently are 4th in the league. 4th in the league. They have signed about 18 players, and they have figured out already how to play, what to do, and how to do. And playing one of these championship level, well, smaller teams, let's just put it that way, away, it's always a bitch, no matter how you look at it. Again, another massive asterisk by the game. They have also a very decent manager. So technically, on paper, we have the easiest schedule. But in reality, if you look more deeper into each team, how we have fared against them in recent times, and how these teams do against us, it's a massive issue again. Literally, it's a massive issue again. And it's not as easy, hence why these super idiot computers and all this stuff, you cannot trust them. Hence why stats can be literally trusted to an extent. You cannot take them all for granted as people do with XG crap and all this stuff. Let's be real. So we'll see. We will we will lose to Crystal Palace or West Ham. I hope not, because if we lose any of these 5 games, by the way, this win against Newcastle we did last weekend means literally jack shit. Seriously. It literally means nothing, zilch, nada. Because usually we lose to Newcastle and we beat these teams more often than not. But if we now have beaten Newcastle and we lose any of these games, it makes that win against Newcastle pretty relevant, doesn't it? If we are looking at it that way. Palace at home also, yeah, it's going to be hell on earth, 100%. We never do well at Fulham away. I could easily lost. Yeah, we never do Fulham away well. Never. Sunderland are playing well. Yeah. At least in the start of the season, every single team right now, it's going to be up and it's going to be rough. Sunderland screams 1-0 Jaka winner if that happens. Oh, dude. Don't even put that in the universe, please. Don't even put that in the universe, because otherwise, yeah, I'm going to break some stuff as well. It might come to that. But yeah, people, I think on that note, I'm going to end today's stream. This morning stream, by the way. I'm going to be live this evening, 8 p.m. UK time, usual time. I'm going to be live as well. So, like the stream if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new around here. Hit the likes. Hopefully going to see you this evening as well at 8 p.m. At 8 p.m., we're going to do a West Ham game preview show, and we're going to talk about other bits and bobs here or there. But for now, have a nice rest of your day. Enjoy your time, and see you very, very, very soon. Peace.